I volunteered to do taxes in rural Alaska. 1 week in Hooper Bay for Alaska Business Development Center, ABDC.
On the next one.
Rip it.
Do I rip them all?
Rip, yep.
Oh.
Rip.
I volunteered for Alaska's Business Development Tax Program. Today I'm going to be going over my experience, what I brought, and things I wish I knew before I went. Hi, I'm Austin and I am in law school. I'm studying for a tax specialty, so that's why I signed up for this program. So what is the program? The program is put on by Alaska Business Development Center, or ABDC for short. The organization puts on free tax services for people who live in these remote native villages around Alaska. So we get sent in pods of 4 to do taxes, and we typically get sent for about a week. Some teams went to maybe 3 or 4 villages, like 1 village a day, and they were kind of island hopped or village hopped around Alaska. So how the program works is you need to pass the VITA certificate. Once you pass the VITA certificate, the ABDC team will give you various training exercises. So you'll go over basic, advanced, fisherman specific types of challenges and tax problems, ready to take on whatever types of returns are in the villages. So how the timeline goes is we left Seattle and we landed in Anchorage. After we landed in Anchorage, we had a full day training, and in the training we went over some of the stuff that we did before. So we went over the basic, advanced, and fishermen different issues. We also talked about the child tax credit and the requirements that ABDC requires when a person wants to claim a child. So we went over certain tax technicalities, and then we also went over the equipment. So ABDC gives us a printer, they give us toner, they give us paper, they give us like different things like that, and then we get all of our assigned laptops. And then on the laptops you don't have internet access, so they also give you like a book or kind of like a research manual that you can look up different tax issues. And then we also got a phone, and the phone was used to call the ABDC office back in Anchorage, so that if there are any tax questions or issues with the equipment, we were able to contact them and kind of hash out what they wanted us to do with the returns. So next is traveling to the villages. So we traveled from Anchorage, then to Bethel, and then to our assigned village, which is Hooper Bay. Hooper Bay is right on the Bering Strait, and it was insanely cold. It was probably the coldest place I've ever gone to. I think the first day we landed with wind chill was like negative 20 degrees. You absolutely need to have great eye goggles and ski gear, because if you don't have cold weather items, I think you're gonna suffer. It is insanely cold. I think it's gotta be one of the harshest climates I've ever been to, based on right after you land, you get off onto the tarmac, and from the tarmac you can just kind of feel the wind like whipping at you, and is insanely cold. Next, for the working conditions, so we were set up in this garage, and in the garage we had different tables, and so we set up the printers and the different workstations. Every person had kind of their own individual kind of one-on-one talking interview section, and then we had laptops set up where we could do the returns, and then the team lead would help check people in at the front and then have them fill out the initial forms, and then each person would print out the returns from these printers, and then we would have the client sign the returns, and then once they signed, we would pack them into the individual mail envelopes, and then we would carry them back to Anchorage for ABDC. So next, for the sleeping conditions, so we got to sleep in the city hall. We would lay out our sleeping bags and sleeping pads, and then we would sleep kind of near their kitchen and on their kitchen floor. So this is kind of like a small room. It was heated. It was thankfully not outside, but some teams got cots, but we didn't get any cots. And we also were neighbors with this Rippies kind of gambling center, and in the city hall they had different offices and equipment, so every day we had to pack up before we left, and it was kind of comfortable. It actually wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, and it was actually just a really good experience to kind of get a semi-camping like setup, but we thankfully didn't have to sleep outside in the snow or in the tent. But I don't think any of the groups actually have to sleep outside. It sounded like some groups got hotels. Unfortunately, you're not going to know what kind of sleeping arrangements you're going to get until you get your assignment, so prepare accordingly. So getting around Hooper Bay is we would get kind of pulled in this dog sled on these kind of ARVs. They called them the Honda, and there's like these different kind of jet skis or kind of like off-roading motorbike, and on the motorbikes we would get tugged and towed, or we would sit behind the driver. So for the packing now, the most important thing is there's actually a packing weight limit. I think it was 40 pounds per person, so keep that in mind when you're packing. But typically, I think everyone basically needs shoes, sleeping bags, a mattress pad, some way to blow up the mattress pad, either with a pump. Then you need maybe wipes, shower wipes, hand sanitizer, toiletries, toilet paper. Some places have outhouses and some places don't have indoor plumbing. So if you want to help clean it, or you want to have some kind of way to clean yourself, I think you definitely want some kind of shower wipes. Some places also don't have any showers, so if you have those kind of like outdoor wet wipes or some kind of way to wash your body, I think that is something that you also plan to bring. So here's a photo of my friends, and you can kind of see the main items. So just from the photo, we have the sleeping bag, the mattress pad, the shoes, some lotion. Yeah, it does get very cold, so if you have a way to have lotion and then keep your skin from cracking, I think that would help a lot. And then she has also her food in here, masks, different kinds of hand sanitizer, gum, and then we would play cards a lot. So cards is something that you can do as the group, and we played every single night, and I thought that was actually kind of one of the highlights of the free time. So when we would be back at City Hall, we would play trumps or different kinds of card games. Next, for food, you have to bring all of your own food and pack it within your 40 pounds. So I tried to bring these REI dehydrated food packs because they're light. The unfortunate part about bringing them, though, is that you have to have access to water or clean water. And a couple of the days that we were out there, the pipes froze over, so we didn't have any way to actually fill up our water bottles or our food packs while we were at work. So in hindsight, I think bringing jerky, chips, granola bars, or stuff that you can eat really quick without having to add water or heat it up is something that I would recommend bringing. This is especially true for during lunchtime, so it's super busy during the day when we're doing a bunch of different tax returns and clients are constantly coming in. So if it's something that you can munch on or eat really quickly, I think that's what I would recommend bringing. My friend also brought these dehydrated fruits, and she was nice enough to share them with me. I think they were really great snacks and just really sweet and like something nice to eat that's really quick and dry and easy to store. For a couple of days, we were told that there was actually a supermarket where we could buy food at. So there's some hot food like fried rice, and there was chicken, and then they have a lot of like cold medicine and typically the stuff that you find at CVS, candy and different kinds of ramen and different kind of food options like that. We actually didn't need to bring every single meal, but we weren't aware, and I don't think you're gonna know if every village will have a supermarket like that where you can buy a lot of dry goods. So I would plan to probably bring most of your meals. There were even Pokemon cards to my surprise, so shout out Pokemon, so goated. A lot of the village members actually hunt for their own food still. So this is a photo of frozen seal meat that one of the villagers shared with us. They also eat a lot of fish and walrus, and I also heard in some of the other villages they have moose. So they have like moose spaghetti or moose pasta. But most commercial goods have to get flown in on these tiny planes, on the passenger planes, and so that's why I think it's very expensive to eat out there. So if you can bring and pack a lot of your own food that you can feel comfortable eating, that's what I would recommend. But keep in mind that you also have to keep the food and all of your other stuff within the weight limit. Also, next for water. So water obviously is super important, and a lot of the villages, I was told, don't have potable water. So we were told to bring water filters or some kind of water tablet to kind of sanitize the water before we drink it. I brought this really great bottle from REI. I really recommend it. So you kind of just fill up the bottle, and then you can kind of push down with the bottle's filter, and then you will get purified water coming out of it. We were told at first that the community center had potable water, but a couple of the people in my group started drinking it after the first day. They said they started kind of feeling sick, so then we all started kind of filtering all the water that was available to us. And it was good that we did that, because a couple days into the week we actually had the pipes freeze over at the work centers. We were able to buy bottled water from the market, or we had to bring water from the community center. So now just generally things that I wish I knew before I went. It was a really great experience. It is extremely cold. It's probably like the opposite kind of climate that I'm from, since I'm from Hawaii, but this place has amazing history, really unique culture. People are extremely nice. I think it was a really great experience. I got to bond a lot with people that I went with, and we learned a lot about this kind of place, like their way of life, hunting, gathering, and just kind of the overall history of people who settled in the Yukon Delta. There's a lot of things to adjust to for sure. I guess just generally camping, if you're not used to camping or just not used to the cold, I think that will definitely be something that will be very unique, or very something that you'll take away from this program. I think overall the tax experience was really great too. It was a lot of 1040 returns. I didn't do any Schedule C or anything like that, so technically I think the hardest things were the EIC and just generally child tax. But I wouldn't worry too much about this trip. I think it goes by really quickly. It is a super great experience. Lots of people asked me about this after I came back, and I think if you plan accordingly, you have a great group, and you're just there to learn and kind of take in the different opportunities that present themselves to you while you're out there. It'll be a really great experience. Outside of work too, we got to go to the school, we got to go to the beach and see the Bering Strait. It was my first time seeing a frozen beach, so there's just like ice and there's glaciers glaciers, and there's just different things that you kind of don't really see unless you're in Alaska or this kind of part of the world. And I really hope you guys like this video. I wish I had something like this before I went. I kind of went blind. I didn't know anybody going. I didn't know what to pack, and some of the orientation stuff was a little bit short. And so I really hope that this video kind of gives you more context and gives you kind of an idea of what you're going to be doing when you go out there. And you guys could like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment and ask questions, and I'll do my best to answer all the questions that you have. Okay, thank you guys, and until next time.